28 win in the playoff. Dabo was asked if he stands by his ranking.
That had nothing to do with Ohio State. I said they were good enough to beat us, good enough to win the whole dang thing. I didn't think anybody that didn't play at least 9 games, in my poll, that I wasn't going to put them in the top 10. So I wasn't going to change that just because there was a chance we could play them. So I don't have any regret about that. The only thing I regret is, I obviously didn't do a good enough job getting my team ready.
I regret nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't have said it. I wouldn't have done it. But his reasoning, I guess, is that, I think the ACC and the SEC, Joy, were bitter. I think there was some bitterness. Like, okay, I'm getting players hurt. We're going all in on this. And I'm not blaming Ohio State. The Ohio State fans were furious at the Big Ten commissioner.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, but that's unreasonable. We're dealing with an unprecedented situation with COVID. There's no right or wrong answer. We may not find what the right or wrong answer for any of this is until 10, 20 years from now, maybe more. We're still in it. We're still in the situation.
Well, it's interesting.
So, to be mad at them because you're playing less games, that was their decision to make, that they're in charge of their conference, which is why you and I talk about this all the time. There needs to be a CEO of football. Of college football. There has to be somebody who's kind of getting everybody on the same page, and then it wouldn't matter what Dabo said. It would just be his opinion. It actually was just his opinion.
Look at these throws.
Justin Fields was incredible. It was an absolute. You know what it felt like, Colin? It felt like fight night.
Yeah.
It felt like you were watching history. We talk about this all the time, what it's like to be at a big fight in Vegas. You're never going to experience this again. Even if these two fighters fight again, they're new fighters. It's a new situation. Maybe they had another fight in between, and they're not the same fighter. This was so unique, and then all of the energy and all of the animosity towards Clemson and Dabo for Ohio State to have a win like that, because it was over. It was over, and you felt like it was over.
Well, I think Alabama, Ohio State you're going to see a lot of points, because I think Nick Saban acknowledges you can't stop anybody anymore. I mean, Nick Saban's never stopped Trevor Lawrence. He scores on him. So I think Ohio State has the quarterback, the wide receivers, the backs, the weapons to score a lot on Bama. The question is, what will Bama's offense do to Ohio State? I could honestly see 48-42 and not be shocked at all. But
I will say, though, Ohio State's defense was very impressive.
It was. Now, remember on Friday I said I didn't like Clemson's O-line, and I thought Trevor Lawrence was hurried. I just thought he was off. They did an incredible job.
Yeah, and Ryan Day said it right after the game. They deserve a lot of credit. We're going to talk about Justin Fields. We're going to talk about Dabo, but Ohio State's defense was very impressive.
They made Trevor Lawrence, like LSU did last year, they made him hurry every throw. And even Tom Brady, when he's hurried, is not as... if you watch Trevor, he was unsettled. And by the way, this is what happens. It's the people knocking Trevor Lawrence. He's lost 2 games to LSU and Ohio State. Folks, you're allowed to lose to Ohio State and LSU in college football.
Yeah, it's just...
And not lose your draft spot.
Take a chill pill. So the Jags fired head coach Doug Marrone. He had led the team to a franchise-worst 1-15 record this season, which also secured them the first overall pick in the draft. Marrone took over as the interim head coach late in 2016, and after leading the team to an AFC title game in 2017, the Jags then had 3 straight losing seasons with 3 straight last place finishes in the AFC South. We kind of all certainly saw this coming.
Yeah.
With the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's also now an active rumor that Urban Meyer may be heading there. It's his job if he wants it. Now, here's what's interesting to me about this job, because a lot of people feel like this is a really good job. So Shad Khan, this is according to Michael Duraco, he's a Jags reporter for ESPN. Shad Khan said he had roster control in 2020, and he will make sure a GM coming in knows that he will keep that control for now, at least. And then he clarified he wants to be a part of the conversation with the coach and GM on personnel and contracts, but he has final say.
Who has final say?
Shad Khan, the owner.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, that's not it. So billionaire thinks he's smarter than football GM. Not interested.
No,
yeah.
I would not. I don't. To me, if I'm going into a situation like that, I need full control over all of that. I, as the coach and GM, actually, the coach and the GM need to have the final say, not even just the coach.
So Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones, there's this reputation that Jerry meddled. So if you go back to the first 3 years of it, Jerry didn't, because Jerry spent every penny he had on the Cowboys, and Jerry had to get the business right.
Right.
So Jerry was on the other side of the building for the first 2 or 3 years. Jimmy had total control. It was when Jimmy started winning Super Bowls and Jerry said, hey, this is my toy. I want to have fun. That's the rub. That's the problem. But Jimmy Johnson, for the first 3 years, was on the football side of the building, and he called every shot. If Urban Meyer gets this, and I got first year on the job, I got billionaire guy, like that's not...
I mean, for business decisions, for COVID decisions, and even maybe even final say on contracts, like they're the ones writing the check, sure.
Right.
Personnel decisions?
Zero. I'm not interested in your opinion.
At all. I mean, I just don't think that's a good... I don't think that's a recipe for success in any business at all. Just do what you do best and hire people who are great at what they do and let them do what they do best. It's very...
You look at the history of great owners. Robert Kraft does not tell Bill what to do on draft day.
He is, at least to our knowledge, he has meddled one time, and that was with Jimmy Garoppolo. And that worked out.
And by the way, Gail Benson, owner of the Saints, never bothers Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis, and they probably draft better than any team in the NFL because she's not going, I like the tight end from Missouri. That's
I mean, how did that work out for Dwayne Haskins and the Washington football team?
Dan Snyder wanted Dwayne Haskins. The coaches didn't.
But they have the final say. It's their team. Finally, the Jets also parted ways with their head coach, Adam Gase, after 2 seasons. Gase was tasked with turning around a franchise that hasn't been to the playoffs since 2010. A great year. Had a good defense that year, 2010. But instead, left the Jets with back-to-back losing seasons. He also led the team to a franchise-worst 13-game losing streak to start 2020 and finished with an overall record of 9-23. Interestingly enough, Steve Sarkisian is going to be headed to Texas to take over for Tom Herman. Bruce Feldman is reporting that Nick Saban is considering Adam Gase or Bill O'Brien to replace Sarkisian.
Well, the advantage to being Adam Gase and Bill O'Brien and working with Nick, they've been head coaches. Nick likes to hire coordinators who have been head coaches because they understand his role. So Jim McElwain, right? If you go back to it, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian. So, so when a head coach understands the volume of he'll be your coordinator, but he understands what Saban's going through. And I think Saban really appreciates, because Saban tends to meddle on the defensive side. It's his defense. Offensively, he wants a CEO, and a guy that's been a head coach, now a coordinator. It's a great fit.
And, Joel mentioned that Sarkisian was kind of in place to replace Nick Saban. So whoever comes in that position, if they do well, could be, heir apparent to the Alabama dynasty. So that's actually really a great job. Now, what the Jets are going to do is a whole other conversation.
Good stuff. Urban Meyer, Jags, I'm going to discuss that coming up next. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Sensitive personal medical data could be exposed as recent analysis suggests an increase in cybersecurity attacks on pharmaceutical workers. The increase in remote work from home has coincided with the targeting of smartphones, tablets, working in the pharmaceutical industry. Important to understand, cybercrime is affecting our lives. Identity theft is happening regularly. People's identity is stolen. You could miss it if you're just kind of monitoring your credit cards. LifeLock detects a wide range of identity threats, like your social security number for sale on the dark web. Nobody prevents it. Nobody monitors all of it. 25% off your first year by using the promo code HERD. Call 1-800-LifeLock code HERD or go to LifeLock.com code HERD. 1-800-LifeLock code HERD.